Good evening, everybody. We are about to discuss and report about event management in terms of budget, marketing, and sponsorship. We are about to have an objectives regarding the importance of budgeting for an event, how to approach an event budgeting strategy, know event marketing process, understand the importance use of social media and post-COVID, identify what are the common objections and obstacles you face when developing an event budget with sponsorships. For the event budgeting, the 2021 guide for event marketers. First, how to approach an event budgeting strategy. First is to establish goals. This is the main purpose of an event budget should not be solely to keep tabs on spending. Rather, the purpose should be to guide the organizer to properly allocate funds to the most valuable event elements. By stating how much you will spend on each component, the budget becomes a reflection of what parts of the event are most important to you. Second, use historical data. Data from past events can be great indicators of what has worked and what didn't. It can allow planners to make tough decisions when it comes to their event budget. However, using historical data can be a challenge with virtual and hybrid events. Third, pay attention to detail. When it comes to an event budget, there is no such thing as being too detailed. Every piece of information relevant to a particular budget item should be included in the description section within the budget plan. This will help you make decisions further down the line and will also be helpful to the future event planners who refer to your budget. And fourth, over communicate with stakeholders. When it comes to financial planning, all relevant stakeholders should always be on the same page. Internally, this means communicating K budget information with the team members who are in charge of financial oversight of the event. For example, if there's been a budget cut on venue expenses and the other person in charge of the venue sourcing is unaware, you may end up securing a space you can't afford sending you over budget. Fifth, stay aware of the latest event trends. Effective budgeting doesn't allow only consist of finding the best deals. It also means intentionally and strategically spending money. Understand your audience and what will resonate with them. One of the best ways to properly allocate your spending budget is to be aware of event industry trends and understand which are the best investments for your event overall. Sixth would be consider sponsors. Sponsors can be value resource for events budgeting. Event sponsors often provide the funding needed to have a successful event in exchanging for the opportunity to get in front of your attendees, typically for brand awareness. And also on how to calculate event budget expenses. First, staffing cost. One expense that can be sneak up on you on the day of in on that person event and the cost of on-site event staffing. The team that will help you with registration, directing attendees to their relevant rooms, and greeting them upon arrival will prove to be a vital part of your event experience. Thus, you will want to keep them happy and energized for the duration of the events. Second, speakers. The speakers will also be very important and significant part for the event budget. This is an area that will require a high willingness to spend because the main way to attract attendees is a strong speaking panel. In many ways, your speaker will be the face of the event as you will use their personal brand to elevate your event brand and relay your messaging. Third, signage and event branding. Creating a memorable event experience requires you to bring your event brand to life. Discuss and strategize what this might look like and make sure to set aside sufficient funds to purchase enough visual elements that will make for an amazing experience. Fourth, unique attendee experience. With interactive technology becoming more advanced each year, having specific areas dedicated to enhance attendee experiences will make your event more memorable. Fifth, emergency funds. This is the fund you will want to set aside early. On the planning process, event organizing is an unpredictable journey, and there will surely be situation in which you will need to tap into your emergency fund. Six, swag. Whether your event is in person, virtual, or hybrid, attendees love swag. Attendees not only love to receive swag, but it is expected part of the event experience. Make sure to set aside a portion of your event budget for this. A swag is like a gift. It's a free item with a logo or a brand name that companies hand out to event attendees. And then we discuss about how to calculate on-site expenses. So normally that would be venue. First, make sure that the event aligns with your overarching event's goal. Once the negotiation are underway, this is when you will want to gather as many details as possible. Make sure to over communicate your specific needs, your goals for the event, and the amount of support you'll want from the venue, which may on-site staff and catering, because this will be a larger expenditure. Be sure to have multiple venues in the running. And then also, COVID compliance and safety precautions. To keep guests safe, you may have to allocate budgets toward additional hand washing stations, hand sanitizer, and plexiglass knee guards. If you plan to have health checks at the entrance, take into the account the additional supplies like contactless thermometers and team members needed to staff in the health check. Planners will also need to order more signage than before, encouraging attendees to promote social distancing and other protective measures.
I'll be reverting next slide. My name is Lunabel Andra. The average smartphone user looks at their phone more than 300 times a day. That's a lot of social media. Social media is an easy and free way to market your event. So, in reality, it's a no-brainer. Here are my 5 recommendations for using social media to promote your event. Where will you promote? Using social media for promoting is a very good idea. Studies shows that an average person looks at their smartphone more than 300 times a day. So social media is a free and great way to promote your products, services, and events. Event return on investment or value. Planning and holding an event is a tricky and hard task, but it won't be as long as you know what to do. Every event has a budget. The budget keeps the event going. Having a planned budget helps to keep track of your expenses and helps you understand your spending, whether you're going over the budget. It helps you understand the big picture. Having a clear budget helps you understand if a return of investment is on site. A few steps to understand if your budget is off track. Determine the reason why your budget get off track. Can you make deal with the vendors to have the prices lower or probably get a discount on their products and services? Are there still dollars available that could be distributed? Make sure to adjust the budget accordingly and update the stakeholders. Can more sponsorship packages be sold and additional benefits and increase the cost? This can be a good upsell opportunity for existing sponsors. How can you get back on track if you go over the budget? When you go over the budget, there are few ways to get back on track. All hope is not lost, but it's important to be on top of your budget. Start by identifying what cost you go to over budget. If it was an unavoidable cost, then you need to adjust other items in the budget. Sponsorship shouldn't be taken for granted in the planning process and should be included in the event budget. Most events, especially corporate events, can benefit from sponsorships. The idea is to find companies that want to reach the same audience as you and offer them increased visibility at the event. Establish sponsorship packages and labels early on the planning process. As sponsorships come in, you can adjust the budget Sponsors can end up covering the cost of a happy arc even during a conference, your mobile event app, signage, and more. If your budget gets off track, think about selling more sponsorships. This can add an influx of cash to your budget. Of course, you should be providing sponsors with real value. Otherwise, they won't want to sponsor your event in the future. Leads, analytics after the event, and increased flow of attendees can entice sponsorships to buy in sponsors packages.
Hi, my name is Geraldine Silva, and to continue with the reporting, the key takeaways: how to master your event budget. First, set specific event goals. Your goals will dictate the scope of your event and its budget. Will you be hosting an intimate dinner for VIPs or a large scale user conference? Each has a unique needs. Second, do your research. Look at historical data, consult with your peers and colleagues, speak to different vendors. This will help you accurately gauge your event budget and will make you more informed buyer. Third, map it all out. Your event budget will need to cover venue, procurement, promotional campaigns, food, staff, tables, chairs, event, technology, lighting, swag, the list goes on. Make a detailed map of your needs to help you keep it all in check. Fourth, hedge your bets. Catastrophes will happen. Costs will suddenly appear. Have a backup plan and a backup reserve funds planned for just these situations. The next and the last topic that we have is sponsorship. There are three types of event sponsors. We typically see different categories of sponsorships in the budget process. First, required event expenses that are partially offset by sponsors. Second, optional event expenses that must be completely offset by sponsors. Third, in-kind sponsors. Each type of sponsorship is handled differently in the budget. Because the sponsor package looks different for every event, we selected an example in each category to illustrate how they are typically handled in the budgeting process. So first example, we have meal or break sponsor, and then second is Wi-Fi sponsor, and then third, in-kind sponsors. Now, there are 7 key steps to successful event sponsorship. First, decide why your event needs sponsorship. One of your objectives for sponsorship is likely to be to bring money in. You will also need to consider other reasons why you would like sponsors. Second, find the right sponsors for your event. It is important that you choose wisely, as having event sponsors that aren't a good fit will adversely impact your event and its reputation. Third, decide on different types of sponsorship. This is particularly the case when the event sponsor has no budget left but can provide goods and or services instead. Other items that could be in-kind sponsorships include lanyards, bags, event apps, photo booths, water bottles, Wi-Fi. Fourth, decide how many sponsors. Once you have decided what you would like from sponsors in terms of money and in kind, your next task is to determine how many sponsors would be good for you and for your event. Fifth, prepare to manage expectations. You will need to make sure that the event sponsors gets exactly what was agreed, and they in turn need to fulfill their obligations to you. 6. Agree ROI with your sponsor. The good news is that once you have agreed measurable ROI, you can work on demonstrating the value of your event. Successful events will encourage existing sponsors to sign again for the next edition. 7. Get feedback after the event. Arrange a debrief session with your sponsor soon after the event. It is a great opportunity to listen and find out from their perspective what worked well, what could be improved, and what they would like next time. Budgeting isn't about limiting yourself, it's about making the things that excite you possible. Budgeting is the first step towards financial freedom. And here are our members. We have Fatima May Russell, Jordan Silva, Andrew Nobel, and would like to thank you for lending us your ears.